is it worth it, right? To chase that top line, especially if your bottom line shrinks. Hi, my name's Devon. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way. I only know the hard way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast, where I give straightforward advice to fuel the entrepreneur in all of us. I'm Devon Dickinson, and today I want to talk to you about being honest with where your business is at and what it takes to go to that next level. And this is a really important topic. I know this because I get phone calls all the time, and I sit down and have coffee and spend time with the whiteboard all the time on this exact subject, because I meet with folks and they're like, hey, Devon, I'm at this, we're at this point. We've been in business now for 10, 15 years. It's good. It's fine, but we're kind of stuck at this, $3 million, $4 million, level, and we just can't seem to go to the next level. And this is common, right? Because I read a statistic somewhere, and don't quote me on this exactly, but it's somewhere around like 98% of the companies get stuck under $10 million. It's like, I don't know, less than 2%. It might even be smaller than that, exceed the $10 million point. And so there's this kind of this big question mark in this hurdle, like, how do I get to that $15 million point? How do I get to the $20 million point? Because we're stuck with $3 million. We're stuck at $6 million. Or we get stuck at a level, we plateau within our business, and there's this frustration. And people are always asking me, we're sitting down, we're whiteboarding through this problem. And this is, it's difficult, right? And I want you guys to understand this, that this is not, there's not an easy answer here, right? Because every company is different. But I'm going to give you some commonalities and some stuff I want you to think about before you make the leap for the next level. Because oftentimes the conversation goes like this. Hey, Devon, we're $3 million company. We've been here for the last 3 years. We feel like we're probably going to stay here. I don't feel like we're losing. We might grow a little bit the next couple years. We might go back a little bit. But man, I really have this goal to be at $10 million. I said, okay, great. Tell me right now what you're taking home, what your net is. And they're like, well, we're about 20% take home. And I'm like, okay, so $3 million. So you're taking home about $600,000 right now. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so why do you want to go to this next level? Why do you want to go to $10 million? They're like, well, because we want to grow. And I get that. I get that. I love growing, period, right? But I'm like, have you counted the cost on what it takes to get to that next level? And they're like, yeah, so on and so forth. But literally, this is what happens. There's a reason why you start to plateau, because going to that next level is probably going to cost you something. It could cost you that 20% margin. You could go from a $3 million to a $6 million company and go from 20% margins to 10% margins, and literally at the end of the day, take home exactly the same with double the headaches. And so this is something that happens, right? That's why you're plateauing. And so these are the conversations that you need to have with yourself and your spouse and your business leaders about, hey, is it worth going to the next level? And if we do, what is the cost of it? Because I have a friend of mine that was right around that $3 million level. He was, probably had even better margins. I want to say it was probably 25, maybe 30%, had a business partner. So they were each taking home, $450,000 a year. That's a great living. You're making doctor money, right? That's really good. You should be very, very proud of yourself, taking home almost $500,000 a year. But they had this, they weren't satisfied there. And again, I'm not telling you to be satisfied, right? I want you to have this growth mindset. But they started taking these uncalculated gambles to go to that next level because they wanted to reach double that. They wanted to be at, $7 million. And they thought, okay, we're going to make all these gambles, right? And they went to that, they started going there, and all of a sudden, a few things changed in their industry. And man, boom, they got punched in the face hard. And what they realized was, in reaching for this kind of doubling of efforts, even when they scaled back, it kind of had poisoned their company a little bit, and they had made some mistakes that were really difficult to unwind, and they hadn't gone through and calculated all the risks of going to that next level. And so even when they pulled back to that $3 million level, they didn't have the 30% margins that they had before. All of a sudden they pulled back and they found out, oh my gosh, we're down to like 15% margins because some of the mistakes they had made along the way in reaching for that next level. And so I'm going to tell you, listen, you know me, I'm a growth person, right? Like, this is what I want. Like, I want you to have the idea about how can we grow? How can we get to that $15 million level? How can we get to that $20 million level? How can we blow through this plateau? But I'm going to tell you, it's not without costs, and you better have a freaking plan, because you can make some really bad mistakes taking those gambles on what is going to take you to the next level. And even if you get to the next level, you really better be able to calculate out your profitability of that, because trust me, if you double in size, you're probably going to double close in headaches, right? More money, more customers, more, equals more, more money, more problems, right? You're going to have more money, more problems. And so is it worth it, right, to chase that top line, especially if your bottom line shrinks? I'm Devon. This is Whiteboard Entrepreneur. Take a quick moment and hit that subscribe button for more content.